welcome to TalkRx with Dr. Neha. Today I have a special guest. I met Henrietta at World Women's 17 in New Zealand, and we are on a lunch break, and she agreed to be a brave soul that's willing to ask her questions so all of you can learn. And how old are you, Henrietta?
I'm 16.
16. So now we're going to get the perspective from a young woman and what questions she might have to ask around communication or life and power, anything.
Okay, so to start, I had a question surrounding miscommunication and sort of lack of acknowledgement. So when you're in a situation where you really want to be heard, or I really want to be heard, when I'm in a situation where I really want to be heard,
absolutely,
and perhaps the other person isn't hearing me at level 5 listening, how can I make changes within myself to cope with that and that lack of acknowledgement, and how can I, in that stress situation, make myself a better listener?
All right, so basically what you're saying is when I have a strong reaction to not being heard, and what situations might this come in?
Well, it happens sometimes with my boyfriend. So if we're having an argument about whatever, sometimes if he's really absorbed in his side of the coin, and I'm trying to acknowledge that and offer something else or offer my perspective, he can't always take it in when he's absorbed in his own feeling and emotion. And I really struggle with that because, it means whatever I say just doesn't get through, or it feels that way.
And you actually have just told me that you feel the identical way he does. Do you see what I mean? The first part of your question was, what do I do when I don't feel heard? And the second part was, then I try to help him solve his problem, and he doesn't take it in, right? Okay, so here's the secret. What it is that you want really badly to be heard, you have to give it away first. Do you know what I mean? So what in your body tells you? How does your body communicate with you and tell you that you don't feel heard? How do you know?
I sort of feel a bit like panicked or closed in. I might get a bit teary, or just sort of butterfly anxiousness.
So you feel a little trapped. And then there's anxious, right? How does anxious and trapped show up in your body? You were kind of like right here, but where does it show up physically in your body?
I think, mostly in my torso, my chest, my stomach.
Your chest and your stomach.
That sort of thing, but it can also be sort of manifest in my head a lot as well, although that's not as outwardly visible, but I can get a headache or that sort of thing.
Okay, so first of all, I am so impressed that she can very clearly delineate physically what's happening when you're emotionally charged, right? Okay, so when that starts happening, the first thing you want to do is take a deep breath in and lean into that instead of try to resist it or block it. Okay? And in that moment, it's like, videos and music have pause buttons, right? On DVD players, iPods, right? iPads. So do we. We have human pause buttons that we can use. And sometimes when we're reacting to someone else, we forget about the pause button. You know what I'm talking about?
I definitely do that.
So the first step is to repeat back what he's saying as you take a deep breath. It allows you to pause, and it allows you to check for meaning with him that you heard what he just said. So it would be like this. He says something like, well, I'm not going to come to the party tonight with you. It's a girl thing. I'm not coming. And in that moment, if you start feeling like you're not heard because you just asked him to come, right? What you're going to do is you're going to take a deep breath and you're going to say, so it sounds like you think it's just a girl thing. Is that true? Right? And so if that is true, he may say yes or whatever. In that moment, what you did was you gave yourself a pause. You got to breathe deeply, and you got to check for meaning.
So sort of like dissecting his side.
Being curious about his side. Even easier. Dissecting sounds pretty complicated. And it also sounds like we're cutting him up. right? But really what you want to do
Heart on the lab table.
No, and so the truth is what you want to do is you want to build an invisible bridge that you two can connect. So the first part of that is managing yourself by taking a deep breath, checking for meaning, and then being curious.
Okay.
Then you say, so then you're going to go to lower levels of listening. And by the way, the 5 levels of listening that she just referred to was something I taught at the conference. And so that's in chapter 10 of my book, TalkRx. It's called the 5 levels of listening. So level 1 is when you have closed listening, right? You act like you're listening, but you're not really, because you're either distracted, you already know, or you don't care about what someone's talking about. Level 2 listening, these are the cliff notes, by the way. Level 2 listening is head listening, and it's when you're more concerned about looking good, you are trying to plan your response so that you look good, or you're hijacking someone in conversation, you're taking over, you're interrupting, or you're one-upping them. The third level of listening is you're just listening to the words someone's saying. The 4th level of listening includes listening for the emotions underneath the words, and the 5th level of listening is listening for what they value, okay? So if your boyfriend said to you, I'm not going, because that's like the girls and I don't want to really go, what emotion would you hear him speaking about?
Sort of nervousness and uncomfortableness.
Yeah, so I hear how that it might make you anxious or uncomfortable to be with all my girlfriends. And then what does he value? What I hear you value is, what kind of time does he want with you?
One-on-one.
Yeah, so I hear that it would be more valuable, it would be a more valuable experience for you if we had time together when I wasn't with my friends. Is that true? So instead of you starting to try to be heard and fighting to be heard, you pause, you unhook yourself from you, and you get really curious about how he's feeling and what he values.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Then there will be time to say, can I share what's important about you being there with me? And now he's going to be in a place where he can truly hear you. Do you understand the idea of giving away? When you really want something, give it away first.
Yeah. I think that'll be really helpful.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So tell me, in this experience, what did you take away? What's different than what you normally do?
I think it's the sort of, in a sense, stepping back and trying to really putting effort and focus in on truly trying to understand the other person instead of just thinking, I already understand this, doing, I don't know, second level, and assuming you know how they feel and actually assessing the root rather than the surface. And I think that could be really useful in this context as well, and then assessing the deeper levels of what it means for that person, and then you can, as a result of that, address it yourself and what it means for you too.
Wow. So game change. He's not going to know what happened. Well, I think one thing that's really important is so if you all at home, if you know of someone in your life that you want to change how you interact with them, or you kind of get in experiences like she just described, like Henrietta just described, that's one of the big secrets, to pause, unhook yourself from your agenda, listen deeply to somebody else, right? And then ask them, or connect to them about what you were trying to say. So first of all, I want to say, is she amazing? She's amazing. At 16 years old, if I knew and had the awareness she did, I would be, I just can't even imagine where I'd be. So you give me hope for the future. Yeah, you really do. And what I want to make sure those of you at home know is there's actual tools to help you connect to some of the most challenging conversations in your life. And if you think the other person needs to be watching this video, what I promise you is the right person is watching it right now, because it only takes one person to change the outcome, and that person is you. So thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
Yes.
So much.
So thanks for watching TalkRx, and until next time, please write in the blog, give us your comments. If you would like to have your question answered, drop me a tweet at #AskDrNeha, AskDoctorNeha. Thanks.